What is going on, guys? Welcome back to Stef ABtv and welcome to the BMW M2 Competition. Okay, so it's been a while that I've wanted to drive this car. I am so happy that I've managed to get my hands on it, and it is absolutely ridiculous. So let's run through a few facts and whether or not you should buy the BMW M2 Competition. Now, if you're new here, make sure to consider subscribing. If you like automotive content, there'll be plenty of videos on the M2 Comp, but also loads of other stuff, loads of other brands, loads of other cars. So yeah, make sure you hit that subscribe button. It doesn't cost anything, it's free. Right, onto this car, the BMW M2 Comp. What do we think? What a car. So this car, if you were to buy this on the road, you're looking to pay around about £54,000, and that's specifically this model here in Hockenheim silver with the comfort pack, with the big brake kit and all the other good stuff that comes on it. But that's the key thing here, isn't it? The Hockenheim silver, first of all, it's a new color for the M2 Competition. Now, the old M2 was a fantastic car. When I drove it, I absolutely loved it. There are a few little niggly things that I thought could have been improved on it. I think the interior was one of them, particularly the seats, and I'll touch on those very shortly because they're just so sick. But the big change to the old M2 to this one is, of course, the S55 engine. Now, the S55 engine is well, it adds an extra turbo. It's a twin turbo 6-cylinder, and it produces 410 bhp, which is absolutely mind-boggling. It's something with such a small rigid chassis. It's just brilliant, and the noise, it does sound good. However, we all know that a lot of the noise, unfortunately, has come from noise enhancement, and that's because, unfortunately, with new EU regulations, BMW have been forced to put in what they call an OPF filter, which effectively quietens the car down, which none of us petrolheads like, but unfortunately it's the way we live, and I think you'll start seeing it in more and more cars, this kind of enhanced tone from within the cabin. We touched on the S55 engine, which is of course the M division engine, which you'll find in the likes of the M4s and the M3s. Now, this has been pegged back a bit because this will easily do, 500 horsepower, I reckon. It's so much fun, and obviously, as you're all aware, it's the winter period. It's so greasy out there. Even the fantastic Michelin Super Sport tyres can't cope with 410 horsepower through the rear wheels in what we like to say is pretty damp, greasy conditions. I mean, let's not beat around the bush. It is cold out there. The tyre temperatures are only about 13 degrees. Haven't got heat into them yet. And what does that mean? It makes for a fun BMW M2, which is what you want from an M performance car, a proper M car. You want to be able to throw it around, and it definitely reminds me of the fun that I used to have in my E46 M3. That was sideways everywhere. 4.2 to 60 in the with the 7-speed dual clutch transmission, the DCT. Now, the manual box only has 6 gears. Now, the great thing with the DCT box is obviously you've got the ability to, shift up and down on the left-hand side here by the gearbox. So if you want that manual feel, you can do that by clicking up and down, like that. It drops the gears. But also you've got the paddle shifts. And that's obviously quite important. I think nowadays you'll find all these modern cars, most of them are all heading towards auto, but the M2 does come in the form of a manual. Now, I would really love to drive the manual box, so I need to have a conversation with a friend of mine who everybody knows if you follow BMW stuff, and that is Mr. Joe Achilles, because Joe Achilles has pushed the button. No, he wasn't going to let me through, because Joe Achilles has pushed the button on a manual M2 Competition, and a manual M2 Comp will be really fun, so I definitely need to have a go in that. But for now, we're in the DCT. Jeez, what a handful. What a handful. We like that. We like that a lot. So what other things make the M2 Competition special, and what makes it better than the older M2? I mean, the brakes on this car are fantastic. The specific model I've got is running the 6-pot calipers, the optional extra, the much bigger brake kit. And the chassis is great. It's a short wheelbase, and you know, it almost feels like 410 horsepower. It's perfect for this car, but it definitely, I reckon, could do much more than that. The handling is fantastic as well. Now, that's the other great thing that I love about this car, is you've got an array of options when it comes to steering input. So you've got a Sport Plus and Comfort mode of steering. So that all obviously makes it easier for when you're turning. So on a Comfort, it's on the lighter scale. On the Sport, it's a bit more firm. On the Sport Plus, it's a lot firmer. Now, for me, the Sport Plus is a little bit too firm. It makes it quite heavy. It feels a bit sluggish when you know, not sluggish, it makes you feel like you're going to the gym. So greasy out there. But you also get different options for the gearbox. So you can drive this in efficiency, you can drive this in Sport Plus, but as I said, it's got a smaller, it's got quite a small petrol tank, so I would not expect you to get much range from this car. Now, this obviously, the S55 engine is very juicy anyway, and I think you struggle really to get, I think, anything more than 30 miles to the gallon on a run. Let's be honest. But you're not going to buy this car to worry about efficiency. However, it is important. Now, what about the interior? So the interior was one of the things that for me, interiors are important places. I mean, let's be honest, you spend all the time in the car, you want the interior to be as nice as possible. Now, and I know that you've got, you know, when you're looking at M performance cars, the main reason you're buying one of these is for the performance. Let's not beat around the bush. But the interior itself is a lot nicer as well in this car. So the most obviously standout feature are these glorious M Division seats, which I'm sitting in. They are the proper bucket seats. They are heated as well, so for being in the UK, we all like a bit of heated seats to make our bum feel nice and warm. They are made out of the lovely Dakota leather, which is a soft leather, and they are so comfortable. Very, very comfortable. The dials as well have been modernized, so you've got a bit more of a digital display. The steering wheel feels great, full leather steering wheel. It is a little on the chunky side, I must admit. You've got little bits of carbon trim, Alcantara in the door cards, the lovely blue stitching. I mean, as a whole, it's a glorious place to be. Now, as part of the whole driving experience, one of the great things that are in the M2 Comp are the addition of the M buttons. Now, when I mean the M buttons, they're customized settings that you can activate at the click of a button. Now, with such an array and plethora of options that you have in the M2 Comp, if you want to quickly put yourself into your best optimal driving settings, you don't really want to be messing around with all the buttons down here and the different settings on the gearbox, etc. You can preset them all so that you just click one button. So I've got M1 and M2, and you can set it to exactly how you want. The settings that I like are comfort steering, Sport or Sport Plus gearbox, because efficiency is a bit too numb for me, but also MDM. Now, MDM is a very clever traction control system which allows for so much slip, but it will not let go fully, so you still have an element of traction in there. I'll show you what I mean when you activate MDM. The ability to do fun stuff like this. And that alone just brings such a smile to your face. It's incredible. As I said, the brakes, fantastic. So much fun. It's a proper driver's car. It almost reminds me a little bit of the 1M. Now, the 1M, when I reviewed that, I said it was so pure, it was brilliant. And I think the M2 Comp definitely has some characteristics that the 1M does, and that's why I'm so intrigued to drive a manual version, to see how much of a connection you have. And I'm sure Joe will be very kind and allow me to have a go. So, you know, in summary, what are my thoughts? I love it. Should you buy one? Of course you should. Do you have the money? I don't know, but it's worth every penny.